Zohra Montazer, a tourist guide and the head of tourism section in Zarj World Heritage Qanat base, and it's my absolute honor to guide you in this visit. Here we are going to go approximately 30 meters under the ground, walking through a part of Zarj Qanat, which is registered in UNESCO list as the longest Qanat, and visiting two of its dependent structure, a watermill and at the end a payab. First of all, let's see what is Qanats. You know that the first civilization were started from bank of rivers, Mesopotamia, the bank of Nile, Indus River, but here in the central part of Iran, where it's surrounded by desert, no river, no spring, our ancestors' lives were depends on Qanats. Underground water tunnels which conveys water from aquifer somewhere near mountain slope to the lower part of the ground to be used for irrigation, sanitation, and drinking. And as this Qanats have effect on the different aspects of life of the people in this area, we introduced another civilization which is called the Qanat civilization. So, let's see how these Qanats were dug. For digging a Qanat, first Qanat practitioners should search for a good aquifer. But we are talking about the time that there were no ultrasonic equipments to show the layer of the ground. So, Qanat practitioners focus on some indications on the surface of the ground. For example, the vegetation of the area, if the seasonal river is there, the color of the clay, the type of the clay. These things lead them to a point that thought maybe they could find a good source of water there. The first well was dug, which was called a trial well, because they are not still sure if they found a good source of water or not. When a trial well reached water, the quality and the quantity of water was checked, and if everything was okay, it was not salty, the amount of water was okay, then the name of trial well was changed to mother well. Mother well is here. Appearance, where water appear on the surface of the ground, is here. The gradient of the floor was calculated. The place of other wells were pointed, and now the digger men started to dig the Qanat from this direction. The first well, the second one, connect them together. The third one like that to mother well. And then water was flowing, and when water was seen in appearance, a small dredging was done, and now water is ready to be used. On the Qanats, we have some dependent structure. For example, water reservoirs. During the winter time, the time that water was not used for irrigation, it was reserved in water reservoirs, and during the summertime it was used. Payabs and watermill. That I will going to explain you a little bit later. Okay. In 2016, 11 of Iranian Qanat was registered in UNESCO list that each of them have a special characteristic. For example, Zarj Qanat was registered as the longest Qanat, or Moon in Isfahan province is the unique Qanat in Iran that has two levels. Vazvan has underground dam, and so on. Zarj Qanat was consist of three branches that unfortunately in recent years these two were dried out, and we just have water in this one. It is started from southeast of Yazd and following to northwest. On the way, it passed the city of Yazd as well. It passed some neighborhoods. We had around 38 payabs on this Qanat. Payab means close to the water, the place that in the old time that there were no piping system, people could access following water from these entrances. And the different levels of society, different parties could use this water. For example, Zoroastrians, Jewish, mosques, schools, public payabs and private ones in high levels of society's houses. These people who can afford annual payment of Qanat paid annual fee and could access flowing water privately in their houses. According to the age of this payab in Jama Mosque, which dates back to around 1000 years ago to Seljuk era, we can conclude that the age of this Qanat is more than 1000 years. There was a Qanat, and then after that the payab was added. So the age of Qanat is more than 1000 years. It is past to here. We are now here, Wazir watermill, and then left the city to Zarch. The most usage of water is for irrigation, but in the city it was just used for sanitation and drinking. This path was the entrance of watermill, Wazir watermill. Wazir in our language means minister. Around 700 years ago, a commander of Yazd asked his minister to build a watermill inside the defensive wall of the city. So in the case of war and siege, people doesn't suffer by famine. Originally, here have no step. It was like a ramp. So pack animal could easily go down to take grain down and bring flour up. After renovation, the steps were added. And 700 years ago to about 65 years ago, the time that this watermill was active, people going down, coming up, it was a time that there were no electricity to lightening the path. And the only way to provide light was this entrances. You see, the cross section is a square, so it illuminates a large area. Here we are approximately 30 meters under the ground in the main room of watermill. The sound of water that you can hear now is because of pouring water in waterhouse. We will visit it later. When a branch of Qanat reached waterhouse, it pours down, and as the entrance gate is much wider than the exit one, water comes up to some levels. The reserved potential energy of water become high, and when it gushes out, provide high kinetic energy. That with that energy, the turbine was started to rotate, and with the rotation of turbine, the upper millstone was rotating. The lower one was fixed, and the upper one was rotating. And because of the friction between two stones, grain, beans, salt were ground into flour. Flour was reserved there, packed, and sent it back to the owners. This is a water house. As I explained you before, water was reserved here, and because of the high potential energy of water, when it gushes out, provide high kinetic energy. That with that energy, the turbine was started to rotate, and with the rotation of turbine, the upper millstone was rotating. The time that this water mill was active, the amount of entrance water was around 120 to 150 liters per second. But unfortunately, nowadays, you see, it's around up to 5 to 6 liters per second.